While we all love to open packs and enjoy that opening experience in the search for the next big hunt, it's always leaving us with a mountain of bulk that so many just stash away in the corner and end up throwing away or doing nothing with it. Today, we're going to show you how to turn that bulk into cash. Let's jump in. You'd be surprised how many people value your bulk cards to build their next deck, to fulfill their master set binder, or simply complete a collection of their favorite Pokemon. So let's dive into at least one of those perspectives here today, and that is turning your cards into cash by what is being played in the TCG tournaments and games happening around the world. There's many ways to tackle this question, but we're going to use one specifically, and that is going to be Limitless TCG. Limitless TCG is a great platform. If you're a player as well, you want to see what decks are out there being played, who's in top place, what the rankings are, and so much more. But it also is a great resource for those of us that are looking to turn that bulk into cash. So how exactly do you do that? Well, let's first navigate to limitlesstcg.com. And then from there, we can look at this in a couple of different perspectives. One will be from a deck perspective and maybe tournament play. Another one may be from a card or a set perspective. So let's look at the first one and dive into some of the tournaments. Now, tournament play happens all around the world in different regions and different countries. But nevertheless, it gives you a perspective of what is actually being played in some of the decks. So if you click on tournaments here at the very top, and what you'll see is basically a listing based on date in the event, and then of course the players that were there and the winner of those tournaments. And if we dive into, for example, here, Jeremy, and we can see what decks he played at which events, and then dive right into the deck list. Here we have a Palkia and a Dusknoir line, and this then shows us exactly the cards that he was using in his deck to win that first place tournament. Now, this isn't the end all be all, but it is a good indicator of what cards you can begin to look for. So mostly when we think about bulk, many of us have taken out some of the hits, maybe even some of the Vs, V-Stars, EXs, whichever era you're looking at. So a lot of the times that's going to end up being special energies, or trainers, items, stadiums, and things of that nature. Those are typically going to find the value that you're looking for once you cross-reference that with these lists. Now we have a couple of cards here like the Iono. They're great supporter cards. They don't bring in a ton of money, but there's a big difference between that 1 to 10 cents and then the jump to the next 30, 50 cents, or sometimes $1 or more. So taking those cards that maybe you have 10, 15, 20, or 100 of, and turning those into dollars can be quite valuable if you add all of that up and of course get those listed so the players can put those into their decks. So here we have a case of, they have 4 Ionos, and for those 4, paid 88 cents. Now this is currently like market price, and so this gives you a general idea, and of course you can cross-reference that with places like eBay or TCG Player. Next, you have other cards like item cards. These are really big, and a lot of big staples tend to last throughout a given rotation and sometimes multiple rotations. Here we have things like Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, Rare Candy. These are all really great staples in most of the decks, and people are usually going to play 1 to 2 of these, sometimes up to 4 in any given deck, and many times people have more than one deck. Now the next 2 examples are cards that are from recent sets here in Scarlet and Violet, and you probably just passed right over them not realizing the value. Night Stretcher is one of them. It's one of those cards from Shrouded Fable that doesn't look like much, but it actually holds a couple of dollars of value. And the other one will be around Earthen Vessel. Earthen Vessel actually is quite popular, and it holds a pretty significant value, especially when you look at these cards in a reverse holo. Those tend to bring the premium, sometimes even 2 to 3 times the amount of its non-holo or holo comparison. Now, this was just one way to look for the cards through your bulk, and maybe you make a list and you can kind of go through those and pull those out. The next one would be perhaps even from the set themselves. So if you click on cards from the very top, you can actually then just pick the set that you want to look at. Here we can go to, for example, our Surging Spark set. Now, when you look at the set overall, it's going to show you the images from essentially the set number for that respective set, 1 through X. Now, one of the other ways you can look at this is you sort by the price. So if you sort by the price, obviously some of the biggest hits that we spoke about in the beginning are going to be here, but if you scroll down just a little bit, you're going to start to notice you get into things like your A specs. The A specs are big in some of the TCG play, so they bring sometimes $1 or more. And as you continue to scroll, you also get a perspective on a couple of the Pokemon that are being played in some of the decks. For example, right now, the Archelodon is being played and being tested out as perhaps some of the new and upcoming meta decks. To top it all off and circle back around, here you also get that perspective of which item cards, supporters, and stadiums are also popular that could bring a little bit of value. So if we take a look, for example, at this Terra Orb that came out in our recent Surging Spark set, here you can see its price from release to the current, and of course jump straight from here right into TCG Player and have a deeper dive look. And so if we do just that and we take a look at TCG Player, what we'll notice is right now the reverse holo, as we mentioned earlier, is selling for a bit of a premium around 48 cents. So if you have 50 of these, you made yourself a pretty substantial amount of money. From there, once you've collected all your cards of value, take them to your respective storefront, post them for sale, and try to turn some of that bulk into actual money to fund your collection. Now, another caveat will be the different prices you might get per platform, and of course the different places you are in each of the countries. One of the things you'll notice is sometimes there'll be a better premium on eBay versus TCG Player as a prime example of two of the biggest sites out there. So don't just take the information that we've shown here, also perhaps weave in a little bit of the eBay prices. That way you can decide where is the best place for you to get your value for those cards. And of course, taking all of your seller fees and everything else that comes into account, these are things you might want to weigh in and decide the best action for you. If sorting through bulk to find value is not your idea of fun, and perhaps you just want to do that quick turnaround and try to get some cash, feel free to reach out to us down below, support@PokemonWonder.com, and we are happy to also take a look at your collections, your bulk, and see if we can offer you a price to make that selling process nice and easy. Stay tuned, we got lots of great business updates and ways that you can help sell your cards. Have a great time and be a part of this beautiful Pokemon community. As always, we appreciate you, your time, and your attention. We wish all of you a wonderful day. We'll see you on the next one.